Hi everyone, I hope that this vlog is finding you well. So today's topic is going to be on anxiety. We're going to look at one of the ways that anxiety tends to manifest itself. Carl Rogers was big on what we call psychological congruence. All right? It's like getting all of our planets aligned in our own solar system so that our energy, our spirituality, our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors all align with one another so that we can function optimally in our interpersonal relationships and everything that we're doing in our life. So let me explain the idea, okay? So emotional congruence looks at the idea that our thoughts are congruent and consistent with our emotions, which our emotions are congruent and consistent with our behaviors, and I like to take it to another level, also consistent with our spirituality and our beliefs and views of the world, right? So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of emotional and psychological incongruence, right? So let's go back to, I think all of us can relate to one of these examples, having a really bad romantic relationship, okay? So I put here just an easy little sheet. It has our thoughts, our emotions, our behaviors, and our spirituality, right? So let's pretend, maybe I don't have to pretend, we all have that like terrible boyfriend-girlfriend experience in our life, and it's all good. I'm sure I've been the terrible girlfriend at one point in time, but nevertheless, let's talk about having a bad relationship, okay? When you were in the dating game, or if you're still in the dating game, right? Let's imagine that I got lucky and I caught this really good looking guy. Maybe he was totally into sports, into academics, and he's just a great catch. And so my thoughts about this guy are really positive, right? Because he's such a great catch, and he's so good looking. He's the star or quarterback of a football team. He makes straight A's. He wants to be a doctor or a lawyer someday. Wow, he's super amazing. So my thoughts are super positive about him. My emotions are, let's say, exhilarated, happy, excited. I feel loved, I feel lovable, I feel hopeful, right? So those are positive emotions. So I'm putting pluses in those areas, right? Because I'm going to go in the direction of positive or negative, okay? And I'm doing the line across. So that's the emotions. But his behaviors, we're thinking red flag, right? Ooh. But his behaviors aren't so good because he likes to work hard, but also super party hard. And that means as his significant other, I probably would have to join in those things and might not be consistent with what I like to do. So his behaviors of drinking, kind of being careless and reckless in his decisions, maybe his interpersonal and social decisions, that's definitely a negative for me. I'm totally not into that. But there's all these other positive things, right? All right, let's look at spirituality. Now, are those behaviors that he engages in, and then I tend to engage in those behaviors too, try to more responsibly, but still they're not congruent with my spiritual beliefs, and they don't make me feel in line with my creator. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give the negative sign, right? Okay, clearly, are these in alignment? No, okay? If I had pluses across the board, they'd be in alignment, right? That'd be great. So I wouldn't have much anxiety about this relationship. I don't think I'd probably bring this guy to my family either, okay? But I feel so happy, and I'm like, oh my God, he's such a great catch. He could be on GQ magazine. All right, but unfortunately, that's not all that's there. And what I can do to get more congruent with my behaviors are change my behaviors and make them more positive, but I really can't change his behaviors, right? I'll be changing my spirituality, but if I can't change his spirituality or his behaviors and how he acts, then I really need to acknowledge the red flag and probably discontinue the relationship sooner than later, okay? So if I discontinue the relationship, then I'm going to be in my little constellation alignment, my planetary alignment here for my thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and spirituality, and I will feel so much better, and my anxiety won't feel so high. Oh my goodness, now it's time for me to brag about my husband, okay? So now when I think about my husband, I love him to pieces. My thoughts are, I'm so blessed to have a person who supports every aspect of my life, right? My emotions are, I love him, my family, our son, everything we've built together, so that rocks, right? And then my behaviors are, I do everything for them and they do everything for me, and we do everything spiritually as a family, so all congruent on that end. And of course, spirituality, he is a believer and that's so important to me, and we believe the same things and we're congruent in all those aspects. So there we go. Woo! We did it, right? Of course, I'm making it sound like my marriage is perfect, but it's not. Nobody's marriage is perfect. We work through a lot of things, and that's the key. We work through it all the time. Okay? So, enough about relationships here. Let's try something about our work, right? What if we are burned out at work? It's a negative or toxic environment, and we're really not finding that meaning and purpose anymore. So, our thoughts about work, they might be negative, right? Okay. So if our thoughts, thoughts and emotions are totally associated. Most people think that our thoughts are what causes our emotions to emanate, right? So if my thought about my workplace is negative, then my emotions related to it are going to be negative as well. So it'll be like, well, I feel terrible here. I don't feel validated. I feel disrespected, totally unloved, obviously. So it's going to be a negative, right? Our behaviors, however, we're going to work anyways. We're showing up, we're doing everything we're supposed to do, and sometimes we do more and there's no appreciation for it. So our behaviors are positive, okay? Right? And then our spiritual aspect says, well, we got to go to work to support our family and our loved ones. So, okay, we'll give it a positive. So that is obviously not congruent because I don't have 4 in a row. I think there's a game like 4 in a row. This is kind of like the game we're playing, right? So I got to change something, and I always want to be a good worker, so I'm not going to change that to make it negative. And I always want to be spiritual, right? But my emotions, well, and my thoughts, can I change my thinking? Yes, I can change my thinking. I can, kind of choose to look at the bright side. But if it's really toxic and other people are validating that's toxic for you, maybe that's something we can't change, and the only thing we can change is getting a new job that feels more emotionally, psychologically congruent, right? We can attempt to change our thinking. That would be like the next case, right? Let's try changing our thinking before we get a new job, and then we could decide from there. But this definitely displays emotional incongruence. I think I don't want to beat a dead horse and do this again. I think you get the point. It's obvious, right? Super obvious. We want to have emotional congruence in our lives, especially in these primary areas, okay? So if you're having anxiety about something, whether it's taking a trip, spending your money on something, whether it's starting a new job, a career, a new endeavor in your life, and you have anxiety about those things, like really sit down and break it down and say, where is this lying? Is it because my behaviors are different than what I'm actually doing? Is my behavior positive? Is it negative? Oftentimes when we're doing something in our head that we think isn't so great, then of course we're going to feel anxiety about it. I just explained it there. So you get the point. All right. So I encourage you to align all those aspects of your life, get that beautiful stellar planetary alignment of you, right, in all those beautiful areas psychologically. And I think that you'll be able to resolve some of that emotional incongruence, and that anxiety that comes along with it. All right. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, of course, put them down below. And I'd love for you to subscribe for my other videos on all different types of psychology topics. I hope you have a blessed day, and always, always, always push the love forward.